Indeed, I'm honored to be with people of diversity again. And I will share with you that this is the highest time for Muslims of the year. It's the month of Ramadan, and this happens to be the night of power that I'm presenting this to you or recording this, the night in which the Quran was revealed from the heavens to mankind. So I've been asked to speak about darkness. And when the Quran addresses darkness, there is a deep interdimensional spiritual meaning. In chapter 2 of the Holy Quran in verse 20, the lightning well nigh takes away their sight. They are at first blinded by the light, like catharsis. Whenever it gives them light, they advance therein, and whenever darkness falls around them, they stand still. In this example, people can only move forward when they can see. Otherwise, they will stumble around. Typically, people do not walk around in the dark. We also find the analogy of night and day in the Quran. In chapter 10 and verse 24, gives us a parable that alludes to the similitude of the life of this world. Its glitter and the swiftness of its passage is like night and day. The sunlight produces food, which we quickly devour into our deep, dark stomachs. Those who look inside the dark cavity of life and reflect take great lessons in self-awareness and personal actualization. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "To know yourself is to know Allah." In chapter 24, verse 40, or they are like darknesses within an unfathomable sea, which is covered by waves, upon which are waves, over which are clouds, darknesses, some of them upon others. When one puts out his or her hand, he or she can hardly see. Interestingly enough, an oceanographer professor in the UK read this verse in the Quran and said, how could a prophet 14 years ago have known about this? This was actually only written about in 1900s here. So there's a deep, deep meaning in this verse. Muhammad, as I said before, peace and blessing be upon him, lived in the desert and would not have known about these details about the ocean. So the way I see it, the marriage of darkness and light intrigues me. And to always see darkness as bad doesn't make spiritual sense to me. Out of the darkness of my life's traumas, I now live in a world filled with light, love, joy, and happiness. This verse points out the ocean's internal and superficial waves. The most roaring and horrible waves are those surreptitiously underneath the oceans. Just as ships of the past voyaging to the North Pole encountered great and grave difficulties because of the ocean's internal waves, so do we humans struggle with the residue of the traumas we experience in life buried deep within us, layers upon layers. Although hidden from physical sight, the interior of the ocean is as turbulent as the surface waves that knock us down. Internal waves in the ocean are believed to be responsible for a great deal of danger and damage. They have been known to displace oil platforms as much as 200 meters in the horizontal direction and 10 meters in the vertical direction. We know that sunlight is weakened underneath the ocean because of the refraction and absorption of light. In the depths of 1,000 meters, there is scarcely a light. On a cloudy day, it is even worse. Does that sound familiar? Submarines allowed us to go deeper than the pearl divers. A novice diver would probably feel quite drunk at 30 or 40 meters. There's no light or sound there. No cell phones, no noise pollution. The underworld of the ocean is a mirror of life below the surface, and I believe in this darkness is healing. It was in the darkness of the cave known as Hira that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, received his first revelation from God on this very night that I'm speaking to you. The Quran points out in chapter 35, verses 19 and 20, "For thus it is, the blind and the seeing are not equal, nor are the depths of darkness and the light." Muslims believe there is one true light, and it is from the Creator. God brings them out of darkness into light, according to chapter 2, verse 257. Light shall outshine or shine out the darkness. In chapter 13, verse 11 of the Quran, it says, God does not change a soul or conditions of a soul until they change what is within themselves. The term darkness in all the verses of the Quran use plural forms. This shows that there are many types of darkness. On the other hand, nur, light, is not plural. The reason behind that is that there is only one true and real light, and that is from the Creator of light. In order to benefit from the light of sun, there is only one way: to remove any barrier in the way of the sun's light. But there are many ways to make a place dark. One can close their eyes, blindfold themselves, put curtains up, or do other actions that make them not see the light. They can even go into denial, spiritual blindness, and deafness. In Islam, the soul enters the fetus at 120 days in gestation, and humans receive spiritual light. At birth, humans are introduced to physical light. The first is the initial light that God gives everyone, the light of the creation of God that we call fitra. And it's when God breathes his ruh, his spirit, into us. And if we look the biblical story and the Quranic story of Adam, peace and blessings be upon him, he is described as a lump of clay. And when God breathed his breath into him, he became a living being, a being with a soul. That light, which is the light of reason and conscience, is and will remain in all of us. Without this light, no one can ever take a step forward. We come from the soul world, and that is where we will return. We are all spiritual creatures on a spiritual journey, on vacation in this physical world. The believers are those who strengthen this light and go to the brighter stations. They distance themselves from darkness and go towards the absolute light, which is God. Darkness and the light are created to provide, both of them are created to provide a vital service to mankind and other creatures such as animals. We have the nocturnal beings and animals that need the dark. We need the balance of night and day. Many of us can't sleep in light. And plants, photosynthesis. And they are brought into existence as a result of something else, such as the sun and the moon, which both give light. Many people prefer to escape deep loss and to avoid hard and challenging times. Yet the dark has given me gifts that are immeasurably deep. It was because I wrestled with the dark that I learned to see beyond what was happening on the surface of my life and grew to understand that everything is more than it appears to be. In time, I knew that the dark is not the absence of light. Light moves within the darkness at great depths. With this realization came a glimpse of the inordinate beauty and power beyond the physical sight. The experience of darkness is not reserved for a single crushing or defining event. We encounter darkness in the many challenges that arise within life. Some are great and some small, but each hold the same potential to alter the way we look at ourselves and the way we think about our human journey. Without darkness, we wouldn't be able to see the light that is ahead. Carl Jung said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. From Tibet to India to the Amazon, spiritual traditions around the world have used darkroom techniques. Ancient Egyptians and Mayans practiced a form of dark retreat as well, traditionally lasting up to 10 days. Holy men would enter into the center of their respective pyramids, completely removed from light and sound, no iPads, no cell phones, and have visions of the universe. The catacombs and the underground network of tunnels of the first Christians in Rome and many other places, such as the pyramids of Egyptians, might have been used as places for dark retreats as well. In Tibet and India, dark retreats were practiced in mountainside caves. Stimulating spiritual perception means examining what is in the dark. Domains of insight are in the dark and is perhaps the key to personal transformation and spiritual evolution. A broken soul has to look into the darkness, the unconscious, to find its authentic, organic self. The Quran speaks to 3 stages of development within the human soul. The first is the unconscious soul that is in the dark in terms of their awareness. The second stage refers to the conscious soul, and the third is the soul at rest because they embrace what was in the darkness of their unconsciousness. They embraced it and came to peace with it. There are 8 rivers of integration. Perhaps we could even call it inspiration, gifts and blessings that are brought out of darkness. The integration of consciousness is necessary for awareness, light. We search in the darkness of our subconscious to find our true, authentic, organic self. Through soul searching, we gather light on a newly coherent sense of our life story. Our left and right brains are in the dark, but they have complementary functions. If the linkage between the sides is blocked in darkness, one side may dominate and we can lose the creativity, richness, and complexity that works from both sides working together. As a therapist, I call this horizontal integration. Finding in the darkness integration of right and left brain can give us a newly coherent sense of our life story and deeper insights into the nonverbal world of ourselves and others. If we are spiritually unbalanced and one side dominates, we are operating at 50% capacity, half in the dark, perhaps half enlightened. Our nervous system is in the dark. But when we ignore what our senses and bodily sensations are telling us, we live a life of flattened feelings and perception. Bringing our sensations into awareness out of the darkness enables intuition to blossom and sometimes can offer life-saving information. I call this one vertical integration. We process and encode our experiences in layers of memory. The first layer, implicit memory, begins in the womb, in darkness, and predominates throughout our earlier years. From our emotions, perceptions, actions, and body sensations, we create mental models that shape our expectations about the world and how it works. All of this occurs without effort or intention, and our implicit mental models that are often in darkness, unawareness, and unconsciousness can continue to shape how we act without our awareness or consciousness. The puzzle pieces of our implicit memory of the past that were in darkness are later assembled into explicit memories, the factual and autobiographical information of which we are aware. Contemplation is about bringing something that is in darkness to light. In Islam, we call it tadabbur and tafakkur. Tafakkur is what comes out of the deep pondering and contemplative reflection. We might want to call it insight. The more we shine the searchlight for the free-floating puzzle pieces of the past, the implicit memories, and allow them to become explicit, the more we free ourselves to live fully in the present and have new choices about how we see our lives. This is referred to as memory integration. Narrative integration is when we make sense of our lives by creating stories that weave our left hemisphere's narrator function with the autobiographical memory storage of our right hemisphere. Research has revealed that the best predicator of the security of children's attachments to us is our ability to narrate the story of our own childhood in a coherent fashion. By detecting these blockages to narrate integration and then doing the necessary work to overcome them, we can free ourselves and ultimately our children from cross-generational patterns we want to avoid creating. Through narrative integration, we are able to make sense of our lives in a deep, integrative manner. What emerges is coherent narratives of our life. We all experience distant states of being that embody our fundamental drives and needs, closeness and solitude, autonomy and independence, caregiving and mastery. These states sometimes conflict with one another, sometimes painfully and confusingly. Looking into that darkness permits us to embrace these states as healthy dimensions of a layered life instead of parts of ourself that we need to reject or suppress. That is, put into darkness to try to achieve inner stability. With state integration, we can move beyond past patterns of adaptation and denial, darkness, to become open, to shed light to our needs and able to meet them in different ways at different times. The key to integration is to embrace these distinctions rather than to deny their existence. Leave them in darkness. Interpersonal integration is the we of well-being. Our resonance circuits enable us to feel the internal world within others, while they in turn weave us into that inner world that is in darkness and carry us with them even when we are not together. Looking into those things that are in the dark, those things not usually easy to find, help us to see how past adaptations are restricting current relationships and then allows us to open ourselves safely to others. This allows us to connect more intimately in our relationships while still remaining and retaining our own organic and authentic sense of identity and freedom. By personal integration, we can love and be loved without giving up ourselves. As a marriage and family therapist, I see how couples lost in confusion and misunderstanding, darkness, the unknown, struggle with rigid patterns of defense, or are prone to outbursts of delusionment, darkness, can learn how to detect their brainstem-driven states of reactivity and move their nervous system toward the receptive state necessary for true and lasting connection. So looking into the darkness, that which we were unconscious of has the propensity to guide us back to a life of passion and compassion. There are profound challenges presented to us in the prefrontal cortex, which give us both a sense of time and ability, apparently unique among animals, to foresee that death will undo us and those we love. Obsessive compulsive disorders reveals how hardwired survival drives that life much of the time in darkness seeks control, sometimes to the point of paralyzing and terrorizing us. Integrating what was in that dark place, temporal integration, enables us to live with more ease and to find comforting connections in the face of uncertainty. Michelangelo is supposed to have said that his task as a sculptor was to liberate the figure from the stone. Cognitive dissonance takes place when we don't behave according to what we believe. Confusing, inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, attitudes cause us to experience psychological and spiritual stress. Today, I invite you into the world of darkness, where many of life's treasures and healings are. And with that, I'd like to invite you into a time of inner reflection and meditation. So I'll ask you to unfold your arms, to unfold your legs, to allow yourself, wherever you're sitting, to sort of just begin to melt into the chair. And once you're settled and you sort of feel one with that chair, close your eyes and soften your gaze and tune into your breath. Inhaling through your nose, fill your tummy with air as if you were filling a balloon. That's good. Inhale about 7 seconds, hold it, and exhale through your mouth about 8 seconds. Hold it for 1 second, and we will repeat this breathing throughout the process. So if you can imagine your breath being like a wave coming in to the shore of the ocean, and then inhaling and exhaling in rhythm with the waves. So continue to take deep breaths each time that you inhale through your nose, going deeper into a state of relaxation, inhaling through your nose about 7 seconds and hold it once the balloon is filled, and then release about 8 seconds and hold it and inhale again, taking a long, slow, deep breath in. And when your tummy's full, hold it for a second and then release. Just slowly exhale, completely emptying the balloon, completely emptying, not in a tense way. Just roll your shoulders frontwards and around and backwards. And just allow them, as you roll them one more time, frontward and backwards, to sink into the chair. Just allow any tension to melt away as you gradually relax more and more deeply with each breath, recognizing that you have the power within yourself to bring rest and repose and tranquility to yourself. And now as you're taking another long, deep breath in, holding it, and then exhaling and holding it, empty your lungs completely. And then as you take your next breath, breathing in even deeper, just take your time. Enjoy it. Experience the sensation of bringing wholeness and peace to yourself. And then just let it go. Let it go out of your mouth, completely emptying the balloon, the belly. Already you are beginning to drift into a state of deep relaxation. Just allow yourself to be there. And as you breathe, become aware of the state of your body and prepare it for the healing you're about to bring to it. And in the next breath, I want you to focus on your frontal cortex, perhaps the right and left hemisphere of your brain. And as you're bringing that fresh oxygen to the brain, whenever you're ready to exhale, release any tension that's there. Just visualize the tension going out from your breath onto the floor and out your door. And then whenever you take the next breath, I want you to bring your awareness to the back of your neck. And whenever you exhale, just imagine untying a shoestring and seeing that tension running out of the knot of tension in your neck. Imagine feeling the relaxation beginning to spread from the crown of your head, your scalp, down to your neck. And the next time, breathe into the front of your face, your sinus cavities, filling it full of hope, peace, relaxation. And you're doing a great job, continuing to breathe like the waves of the ocean. Sense and imagine a feeling of relaxation beginning to spread all from your neck up. Just let the muscles in your forehead and your temples relax. Let your eyes relax. Let your cheeks and your jaw soften. Just let go of all the tension. And now this peaceful feeling flows down your neck into the muscles of your shoulders. And now let's breathe into the shoulders as deep as you can, about 7 seconds, and hold it there. And then release the tension. Just breathe out for about 8 seconds, completely releasing the tension. You're doing an awesome job. Just recognize the peace and healing you're bringing to yourself. And the next time as you inhale, you breathe into your chest cavity, holding it there when you fill it as full as you can, and then releasing. Just completely emptying it. And the next time you breathe in, I want you to fill your arms as if they are surgical gloves and your fingertips. Allowing the breath, just visualize, experience the breath all the way going to the tips of your fingers. And whenever you exhale, just release any tension that was there. And visualize your arms and your shoulders and your chest and your neck and your head as being whole, a beam of white light, purifying it and cleansing it of any kind of toxicity. Just continue to allow yourself to become weightless, like wisps of clouds on a breeze. And now this peaceful sensation flows down into your stomach. And just allow your stomach to be filled with oxygen. Just allow it to be there, and then just release any kind of tension that you feel there, any kind of pain that you feel there. Just allow it to go. And then in a moment, if you will inhale and focus on your buttocks area, the back of your thighs, the front of your thighs. Feel all of these large, strong muscles becoming loose and relaxed. Let's breathe into that lower chakra area, your sexual region, your pelvic region, your buttocks again, filling it with wholeness, peace, rest, repose, and tranquility. And then allow yourself to release. Just feel the soothing feelings flowing down through your knees and into your calves. And the next time you inhale, I want you to breathe into your knees, refreshing that wholeness that you began to feel there. And with a flush as you exhale, just release the tension from there. Very good. Completely exhale. And the next time I want you to inhale, breathing into your calves, filling them, and just enjoy the sensation of healing that you're bringing. And allow yourself to exhale and release the tension from there. And as that tension is flowing through, Feel your ankles relax and your feet relax and your toes relax. And let's take the next breath, the next wave of wholeness into the ankles and the feet and the toes. And now it's time to leave the external world behind and go on into an inner journey, that beautiful place of darkness where we will lift the veils and see what we need to see, what's especially there for us today in the way of healing. A journey to a place of deep inner stillness, perhaps the pyramids of Egypt. See yourself relaxing in the dark with no interruptions, no violations, and just allow yourself to be there. Breathing in deeply, embracing that space of safety and enjoying that place of safety. And whenever you take your next deep breath, allow good feelings to fill up your heart and your mind. Peacefulness and calm are all around you. Just enjoy that feeling. And as you take your next breath, I just want you to scan from right to left and right to left and right to left, all the way down your body. A beam of healing white light, eradicating anything that you might have left. Visualizing yourself as a crystal, transmitting peace, being an instrument of peace, an instrument of healing, an instrument of love, and an instrument of light. And so I'm going to ask you to take 3 more deep breaths. Each breath a little deeper this time, into the inner recesses of your heart, and completely emptying as you exhale. And now I'll ask you to take that next very deep breath, as deep as you can, into the inner recesses of your heart. And when you exhale, just allow it to go. Completely emptying yourself. Inviting the next breath into the inner sanctuary of your soul. And when it's full, just release it and allow yourself to be there. And in a moment, I'm going to begin to count to 10. And as with each number, I want you to just see yourself elevated spiritually, elevated emotionally, elevated mentally, elevated in every way. Very good. We're now at 2. And with your next breath, just breathe into step 3. And as we breathe into this beautiful space, out the count of 10, I will snap my fingers. And you'll just simply take your time coming back. And whenever you're ready, just take your time. Enjoy the space that you've created for yourself. And now you're on step 3. And you're just ascending now into step 4. Into step 5. With each ascension, experiencing the beauty of yourself and the perfection of yourself. And with the next breath, you're at 6. And with the next breath, you're at 7, the place of spiritual perfection. And with the next breath, you're at 8. And with the next breath, you're at 9. And with the next breath, you're at 10. And just allow yourself, whenever you're ready, to come back. It was indeed a joy, a loving, beautiful, pure and holistic experience to travel to this space with you. And now I send to you the very best of energy. And whenever you come back, just hold tight to what you just delivered to yourself out of a time with your eyes closed, out of the beauty of the darkness. Thank you.